Hi, I'm Marilyn Lindsley for the Corvallis Art Center, Arts Alive. I do polymer clay work. I do mostly jewelry, and today I'd like to tell you a little bit about polymer clay and the tools that are used in it, and then demonstrate how to make some polymer clay canes. Polymer clay is a synthetic clay. It's man-made, and it comes in many colors. I brought a few to show you. You can get it in almost any color. It comes in different sizes, 2 ounce, 8 ounce, or possibly 16 ounce, and many different brands. Sculpey Primo, Fimo, Cernit, and they all have different properties. So if you're going to get into polymer clay, it might be a good idea if you experimented a little bit, and most of these are available at craft stores or online. Some of the tools that I use for polymer clay work are flexible blades like this. They're a single edge blade. They're very sharp, so you have to be careful. This is not really for small children. You do have to be careful. An acrylic roller, dry wax paper. This is just like deli paper for sandwiches. And I have a large, you can't see it, but I have a large rolling machine that I use, but what I recommend starting with is a pasta roller like this. This is just a regular pasta machine. You can buy them at home stores or craft stores. The only thing is that I recommend not using this for food if you're going to use it for clay. Don't go back and forth. So that's a good way to get started. Polymer clay cures at 275 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's easy to bake in your oven. I myself have an oven in the garage that I just have for polymer clay. I don't use it for anything else but polymer. So that might be a good way to begin your exploration of polymer. Thanks for joining me today. I'd like to talk to you about polymer clay and polymer clay canes. This is a cane made of polymer clay. You can see that on the long side it's all one color. It's a long rod or log of clay. But the interesting thing is that when you turn it on its side, there's a pattern. And the pattern runs all the way through, completely through the end of the cane, and it's same on the other side. And so the way to use this is to cut it into small slices like this, and then go ahead and use the slices in any way you wish for decoration. An interesting thing about polymer clay canes is that the pattern will remain even though the cane has been reduced. These are the same cane. You can see this is a very big one compared to this one, but the pattern is still intact just as perfectly as it was in the big one. And today I'd like to show you how to make some simple canes. The first one is a bullseye cane. Bullseye cane is going to start with a log. We're just going to use 2 colors, white and black. I've already made this log. You can see what it looks like. It's just a big roll of white clay, and we're going to cover it with black clay. I've already rolled out my black clay, but I haven't trimmed it. So I'll trim each edge, starting out, let's see, I think this is too big, so cut that off. You trim off here, about like that. We don't want any rough edges. So we'll go ahead and trim the end. Now we can put our white log right on the edge like that, and now we're going to trim the other side so it will be just the right size for this white log. Okay, so that's pretty good. Now we're going to roll it. So we gently bring up the black, gently attach it to the white. We try not to incorporate any air bubbles. Air bubbles are not our friend. So we are going to keep rolling gently and smoothing as we go. And when we get to the end, just rock it back and forth a little bit. I don't know if you can see, but this edge made a little line right here. And I'm going to cut right in front of that line. And what that will give me is two ends that I can squeeze gently together. We want a smooth join here. We don't want any overlap. So we work to join these ends together and kind of heal that those two edges together so they're nice and smooth. And that is the first part of a bullseye cane. And now we want to make sure that joint is smooth. And the next part is to take it down to our smaller size. The way I like to reduce a cane is to use my hands and thumbs, my fingers and thumbs, as pinchers. And pinch from the inside to the out, and then rotate, pinch from the inside to the out, and keep doing that. Rotate and squeeze the material from the inside to the out, and keep rotating. If it gets a bit lumpy, you can go back and roll it out this way, and then keep on pinching and rotating like this. And in this way the pattern will be kept. Now we don't have a pattern here, we just have white, but it's the same thing if we had a pattern. So we'll keep pinching, rotating, and rolling. You can see already it's getting longer and thinner. Okay, so I'd like to turn this bullseye cane into a complex cane, and I'm going to call it a lace cane. So we're going to go rolling more on one side than on the other. We're going to turn one end into a very small diameter cane. The other end we're going to leave big. We keep rolling and rolling until we get really small. And that's starting to come apart. Let's get rid of that. Till we get a really small one at the end. Okay, now you can see we have a cane of variable diameter there. So let's see, get out my trusty graph paper, and we'll try to cut this approximately in about, I don't know, about 1.5 inch sections. Let's cut the end off here first. Okay, so we'll go about like so. About like that. And again, like that. Now, let's put these together and see what kind of pattern we might be able to make. Maybe this way, maybe one of these over here, this one here, and maybe that one right there. Okay, and now let's reduce this. Make a cane out of this, reduce it. So we're going to squeegee, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze all of these pieces together and make them into a cane. Now, we could make a round cane here, we could make a triangular cane, we could make a square cane, just up to what you want. I think for us today we'll just make another round cane. So you can see I'm pinching and rotating and rolling again, and soon instead of a single bullseye cane we'll have a complex cane. Let's see what it looks like when we open that up. There. And that's more interesting, I think, than a single bullseye cane. Now what you might do with that is you could add, I know, let's reduce that a little more. I'll show you what we might be able to do. We'll keep it going a bit. Okay, let's see what we can do with this lace cane now. I'm going to cut this into 3, and we'll line these up. Here's another opportunity to be creative. Line them up however you wish. I think I'll go this way so they're not, the pieces that look the same do not go together. So now we have this pattern, but we have these empty spots in between. I think to fill the empty spots, we'll work on some contrasting colors. We have a green log here, and I'm going to pinch up the top to make it kind of triangular. Kind of smooth it out. Okay, and I think we can fit that right in to that little crevice that we made. So we'll put one right there, and the other one right there. So now we have some green coming in. We have the other side empty. Let's put some black on that side. We could put any color. Doesn't have to be green, doesn't have to be black and white, doesn't have to be green. It's always up to you, whatever color you want. So we'll pinch up, make a little triangle shape, and then we can fit this right in to the cavity right here, like so. There. Now, this is what we have. So we can squeeze these together. And now we have quite an interesting complex cane that started out, remember, as a simple bullseye cane, only black and white. So now if we want to use this in some fashion, we could cut it this way. Now see what we have. And I'm sure you can think of how you can use this. One way that I use this is in these earrings. I cut off my slice like this, and I put some slices together. I'll show you how that worked. You cut another slice and then put the slices together this way. Not quite like that, but kind of like that. And you can see down the middle, that's where my green slices joined. Now this post part, I made another cane with green and black. So that's a little bit different. But you can see where this came from. Now when I make my jewelry with using the cane slices, I always use a backing. So you can see the back is a different color, and that just allows me to really squeeze my cane slice onto something and make it very strong and sturdy. And the other thing I wanted to show you with this bullseye cane is this pattern right here. You can see the big bullseye shapes, the round shapes are here. For this one, actually this is the cane that I used, I added a few slices of red. You can see right here, this is where they came out, right in that shape. And then I made a red and white bullseye cane, and again added a little bit of red, and that's where this came out, right here. So again, this is a very simple cane and very easy to do, and you can make some very interesting items with it. This cane is called a jelly roll or spiral cane, and it's made with two contrasting colors. We're going to put them together. I've already conditioned the clay and trimmed it out, so I'm just going to lay these right on top of one another, try to squeegee out any air bubbles, and then I'm going to run it through my pasta roller or clay roller. Alright, so we lengthened it out a bit. Going to roll it through again. Is that enough? Maybe just one more time. Okay, and then we can roll this up. We cut off the end. We can bevel the edge just a little so that the outside color will curl up around the inside color just a little bit. And here's where we do need to be careful. We don't want to incorporate air bubbles. We want to get a nice smooth roll here. So we try to take some time and start this up carefully. There we go. Okay, and then once you get it started, it's pretty easy to just go ahead and roll that. Again, we go gently. This one tends to squish out on the sides. So you want to try to control the sides. Go slowly until you get it started. And then you can just go for it. And then as we get toward the end, again we'll bevel this edge just a little bit so that we have an even color on the outside edge. We don't want the blue to be showing through. We want, oops, I beveled it the wrong way. We want the green to show through, not the blue on the outside. So yeah, that's the right way. So then we can push this green right over onto itself. So this is a basic jelly roll cane. Just one, let me flatten it out a bit or smooth it out a bit and then I'll show you. Want to get that seam nice and flat if we can. The glove's gotten a little bit black. Okay, so let's slice a piece off and see what we have. There. That's a basic jelly roll cane. What I wanted to show you that we could do with that is to add a lot of colors. And so I already made a bunch of canes and brought them to add on. Here's the yellow and red, black and yellow, blue and orange, turquoise and white, turquoise and blue, or white and turquoise. Here's a yellow and blue, purple and green, and what else? Another green and orange, another green and orange, and yellow and orange. So I'm going to add these other canes to my jelly roll cane that we just made. We'll just line them all up and cut them all the same size. I think our shortest one is this blue one, so we'll use it for a guide. Cut the rest of these off like that, and like so. One more. All right, now we have a lovely assortment. What we can do is just pile them up, just like we did the lace cane, any way you want. Of course, you can be very artistic about this, or you can just slam them together any way that seems right. Where's the one we made? Here's the one we just made. Where should we put it? Right here, I think. Now look at this nice assortment. Let's squeeze this into a cane, if we can. We'll squeeze it into a triangle cane. This is going to take some time. So this is where you get a cup of tea and realize that you're going to be here for a few minutes. So now we have our grouping of canes reduced, and I'm going to go for a kaleidoscope cane with this. So that means each of the sides of the triangle must be the same width. So I'm going to put it on my graph paper, and as I reduce, I'm going to sight along the outside edges to try to get them to all be within the 1 inch guideline. So then I turn it. This one is still a little too big, so I'm going to squeeze and turn, or not turn, but squeeze and pull till this within the edge of the red lines. One thing you should notice when you're reducing a cane is that you want the lines to stay straight, or relatively straight anyway. This is not quite straight here. The reason is that if you get the lines twisted, your pattern will be twisted inside. When you go to cut it, you'll get a funny looking pattern. Now it could be that you want that. You know, you might want a funny looking pattern, and that's fine. But I don't want that this time, so I'm going to try for straight lines and equilateral, each side being the same width. So I'm pretty close here. Let's see what happens. Yeah, I think I'm pretty close. Let's see what we can do with this now. We're going to cut the end off. Let's cut it right down the middle. When you open it up, you put the sides together, and you can actually make another pattern. Or we might want to put these two sides together. See what happens when you put them together. Or maybe these sides would go better together. I think I kind of like the black in the middle. Let's go for the black in the middle. We'll cut a few more of those and see what happens. See if we can make an actual kaleidoscope. So a kaleidoscope would be 6 that all fit together. So we've got 3. Now you have to arrange these so that they line up. So we decided we want the black in the middle. So then we have to find this side that has black in the point, and then this way. Let's cut some more and see if we can make another side like that. When you cut a cane, you want to make your blade nice and straight. This is a flexible blade, so it's possible to cut curves, but for cane cutting we want to go straight down, and try to make it as even as possible. And we want to try to make all the slices the same thickness if we can. All right, let's put these together now and see what we get. Here's black, and blue comes next. And let's see if we're going to be able to do this. Black and red. And then black. Here we go. Does this fit right in? It does fit in pretty well. Maybe isn't perfect, but it's pretty good. We could squeeze this a little more so that we don't have a hole in the middle, or we could put a little piece of clay right there for decoration. Now, some of the things I've made with this one I wanted to show you too. This is a pair of earrings that I made very similar to this. I made a equilateral triangle cane and then sliced 6 pieces and arranged them in this way like a kaleidoscope, and then used a hole cutter and cut out the middle. Another one is this one. This is a bowl that was made the same way. You can see the larger pattern this way a little better. I put a little piece of clay right in the middle on that one, and this is what I'm talking about, having a different color on the back side. It adds strength and gives form. Now there are a couple of other interesting not kaleidoscope, but spiral cane works here. These earrings were made with a white and translucent clay. And you can see the spirals going around and around. I layered these canes on top of one another, and they were placed on top of some other colored of clay. And then when the cane is baked, it shows through. The translucent clay turns clear and it shows through. And this box is another example of that. You can see these large spirals. These were great big canes, and these were layered on top of other colors just in the same fashion. So that is spiral or jelly roll canes. Thank you for watching. I've enjoyed working with you, and if you make anything with polymer clay, would you please share it on social media with the hashtag ArtsAlive20.